If I had known the truth lurking in those fluorescent-lit hallways, I would have chosen any other job, even the most menial task imaginable. But here I am, whispering into the dark, desperately hoping you'll believe me when I say, I survived the backrooms for 24 harrowing hours, and what I found within those forsaken walls was far worse than mere madness, a horror that clawed at my very sanity. It all began innocently enough, an errant pebble dislodged on the pathway of inevitability. I worked part-time at the local mall, pushing brooms and mopping up spilled soda as if it was the most mundane and normal thing in the universe. My shifts typically ended by midnight, resulting in a quiet parking lot bathed in the surreal glow of streetlights, with the echo of the night serenading me softly around the edges of my consciousness. But on that fateful night, curiosity pulled at me like a siren's call, urging me to explore the mall after hours, eager to uncover the urban legends that whispered through the ranks of night shift workers, tales of a shadowy place dubbed the Backrooms. The legends were imbued with a chilling allure. Most dismissed it as a ridiculous folktale spun to scare naive souls, harmless gossip hanging in the air like the last vestiges of autumn. Yet, the thrill of the unknown coiled around my heart, binding me to the decision of stepping into the dimly lit corridor that felt both inviting and foreboding. I thought I might stumble upon something interesting to share with friends, perhaps even find a laugh to dispel the mundane nature of my job. How foolish, right? Little did I know, curiosity often comes with a price, and my coin was about to be spent. It started as a slight shiver, a disquieting sensation creeping up my spine, hinting that I was being watched. The fluorescent lights above flickered inconsistently, and shadows began to dance on the walls with unsettling life, twisting and contorting in ways that seemed almost sentient. Mere moments later, I lost all connection to the outside world. The familiar sounds of the bustling mall faded away into an eerie stillness, wrapping me tightly in a cocoon of silence, as if the very air was holding its breath, waiting. "Hello," I called out, expecting to hear my voice send echoes ricocheting back to me like friendly ghosts. But instead, an oppressive silence layered thickly over the air consumed my words, choking me. A wave of apprehension washed over me, saturating my thoughts. This wasn't right. I turned back, teeth gritted, yet the corridor, no, the disorienting maze, had transformed. The walls, which once seemed familiar, now managed to stretch into an endless expanse, painted in sickly yellow, imbuing everything with a harsh light that made me squint uncomfortably. I remembered the tales spun by my co-workers, how people ventured into the maze and vanished without a trace. But I thought it a triviality, simply a little story meant to spook those foolish enough to hold on to such tales. As I stepped cautiously forward, my footfalls softened by the emptiness swallowing them whole, I began to hear something, distant echoes that appeared to reach out from the heavy void surrounding me. At first, I dismissed it as figments of my imagination, but soon the murmurs burgeoned. Whispers danced at the periphery, indistinct yet powerful, burrowing into the corners of my mind, wrapping around echoes of anxiety and dread. I noticed doorways that I just knew I could step through to find the exit I desperately sought, or so I thought. Instead, they led me to more hallways, more cluttered yellow walls that twisted and warped into grotesque lattices of despair. I ended up wandering through what felt like an eternal cycle of corridors, alien and disorienting in their sameness. I tried to convince myself I was simply trapped in a fever dream, a macabre illusion. But soon, the mechanizations of doubt began to creep into my mind, demanding attention. After what felt like hours of incessant walking, I stumbled upon an old break room long since abandoned. Faded remnants of forgotten lunches littered the table, now draped in layers of dust that told tales of neglect. A half-eaten sandwich lay forlornly beside rusty soda cans, remnants of lives once lived within these walls. Yet it wasn't merely the detritus of past meals that caught my attention. It was an unmistakable sense that something lay just beneath the surface, unseen but palpably real. The air felt suffocatingly thick, as if it were eager to smother any traces of hope. Shadows in the corners flickered like they danced to their own sinister song, seemingly alive. I glanced back, half expecting to see another person stepping out from the shadows. No one did, but the whispers grew louder, swirling and shifting like a tempest, taking on a low hum that resonated deep within my bones. It called to me, coaxing me to listen, urging me to stay and understand the cosmos of secrets trapped within this haunting expanse. My heart raced, thumping erratically against my ribcage as I rushed to a nearby door. Flung open, I was met with yet another corridor, the same monotonous walls, the same sickening yellow stretching endlessly into the dark. Panic ignited within me, a fire fed by a mounting sense of dread. This wasn't just some prank, nor was it a fanciful urban legend. I was ensnared in something far more sinister. I was lost, perhaps for eternity. As minutes slipped into hours, or at least I presumed, I felt the weight of time pressing down upon me, clinging to me like a tangible fog. I lost all sense of reality. Day and night bled into one another. I called into the void, my voice ringing out in desperation, hoping someone might hear me. I shouted until my voice cracked, but all I received in return was distant echoes mocking my futile attempts at escape. The corridors twisted ever so slightly, both familiar and alien, as if they were shifting, judging me, trapping me. At one juncture, I leaned against a wall to catch my breath, feeling the cold surface beneath my fingers. In the dim light, my eyes caught sight of a crumpled piece of paper lying abandoned on the floor. A grocery list, hastily scribbled as if it were a frantic confession. I picked it up, instinctively shoving it into my pocket. What? Perhaps as a talisman of my descent into this labyrinth of despair, a reminder of the darkness that had swallowed me whole. But as time dragged on like a relentless tide, the whispers began to morph, and they no longer sounded like lingering fears. Rather, they pulsed with a rhythm, each heartbeat echoing against the walls. I pressed against the cold surface, gasping as their sudden escalation reverberated through me, as if the whispers had awakened, craving recognition, hungry for my acknowledgement. Those echoes grew sharper and darker, distilling an essence that blurred the lines of reality, leading me to wonder if I was slipping past the very threshold of sanity. A chill prickled the back of my neck. I turned around, and for one horrifying moment, I thought I saw shadows swirling, dancing languidly at the end of one corridor. Just shadows, I told myself. But in this disquieting nightmare, anything could be hiding just beyond the veil of obscurity, biding its time. Curiosity tugged at me like a thread pulled taut. I took a step into the gaping darkness, lured by the promise of answers. With every step I took towards that void, the whispers crescendoed into something frantic. It felt akin to standing at the edge of a precipice, the moment right before surrendering to the insistent grasp of gravity. But the bravado slowly disintegrated under the weight of dread as I took that final step. The shadows condensed around me, swirling as though waiting for my submission, and when I crossed over, reality shattered completely. I tumbled into what felt like a dimly lit room, the whispers abruptly falling silent. My breath quickened in the sudden void, a stillness that felt oppressive. Then I heard it, a voice close, unnervingly so, a sound that felt achingly familiar. "You shouldn't have come here," it intoned, tinged with equal measures of sorrow and malice. I spun around, freezing in place, realizing that the room held more than just disembodied echoes. They were remnants, flickering phantoms of memories frozen in time. Lost souls scrambling through space, searching for escape. I watched in horror as faces contorted into anguish, each pair of eyes radiating despair with a haunting intensity. My heart sank, melding with the whispers that now felt like an impending storm, each tremor a reminder of the precious hours I had lost. Had these hauntings all ventured here before? Were they all ensnared, forever longing to be remembered? To be seen? The reality dawned on me with a crushing weight. I was not alone, and whatever transpired in these walls was merely part of a far darker tapestry of despair. The horror didn't just lie in being lost. It whispered of becoming just another echo, another ghost within this unyielding abyss. Panic surged through my veins like wildfire. I turned to flee, but the doorway I had entered was now nothing more than a solid wall. I banged against it in desperation, crying out, but each terrified thump reverberated with the hollow intimacy of defeat. I pounded my fists, feeling the cold, lifeless stares of those entrapped weighing heavily on my soul. They knew. They had all been here to witness the crushing isolation. For the next few hours, though I can't be certain it was that long, I wandered frantically, mired in a cycle of searching for a way out, the quiet tied into an aggressive pulse that seemed to thrum in the fabric of space. Just when I thought I might succumb to the crushing clutch of despair, the whispers returned. They shifted again, swirling around me, urging me to listen one final time. Desperation saturated my every thought. I would give anything to escape, to be free. Then the words reached me, softer this time, almost pleading, mixes with the flickering shadows. You'll never leave, unless you take their place. As the weight of that horrifying realization crashed down on me, an invisible force clawed at my throat, tightening like a noose. I screamed, but it dissolved into silence, empty and cold. Hours must have passed before the very hallway I had come from meandered like a held breath, twisting once more, distorting reality as I knew it. I sprinted in a blind frenzy, tearing down the corridor, fear propelling me forward. The walls pulsed ominously in time with my heart, and finally, a dim light glimmered in the distance. I stumbled forward and burst through the door, gasping violently for breath as cool night air enveloped me. I collapsed to my knees in the parking lot, utterly disoriented. The mall loomed just as I had left it, quiet but still familiar, a ghostly echo of my former self. I felt like a wraith, haunted by the abyss I had escaped, still tethered to a world I could barely comprehend. As I knelt there trembling in the coolness, blowing away the cobwebs in my mind, I instinctively raked my fingers through my hair and felt something firm in my pocket. Pulling it out, I froze. The crumpled grocery list remained nestled within my grasp, but something deep in my bones stirred. What had once been a trivial note now pulsed with significance. The hastily penciled lines, organized into neat rows, now unmistakably took the shape of anguished faces, contorted in the throes of agony. Each line a cry, each curve weighed heavy with the haunting memories of impossible choices made within that labyrinthine hell. I fled the mall that night carrying a truth that lay heavy on my chest. I hadn't just survived for 24 hours, I had unintentionally joined a cacophony of echoes that would haunt those shadows forever, whispering secrets only the willing could hear. If you've ever felt something watching you from the shadows, understand this channel might be meant for you. Subscribe to The Dark Witness and you'll grasp why. Because sometimes, surviving is only the beginning.